So, yeah, I guess my favorite game character would have to go to two villains. Kafka from Final Fantasy VI, and obviously Luca Blight from Suikoden 2. Mainly because they do their jobs as villains very damn well. They just mindlessly just kill people right off the start, and they get off of it. It's just like, they get off on it, rather. It's just like, just a kill person, and then you just start, like, laughing maniacally. I mean, now it's become a bit redundant now, because you see that in a whole bunch of games now. But you see, back in, like, the 90s, that was sort of like, whoa, wait a minute, what the fuck? The hell is wrong with this character? And I think for their time, I think Kafka really just takes the cake in terms of development. Even though Luca Blight's tale is a lot more believable than Kefka's tale, because Kefka's backstory is sort of like, okay, well, it was a Magitech incident, and the dude became crazy because magic ate his brain out or whatever, and then all of a sudden, he gets the powers of a god, becomes the god in the middle of the game, and pretty much destroys, like, the world, you know? And that's another reason why I like Final Fantasy VI, is because, you pretty much fail in that game as being the heroes, and then you have to, like, fly around and reunite everybody to try to get Kafka, even though most of the damage has already been done. So I like that game pretty much the most out of the entire series. I think FF6 is the best, which will lead me to my second video. Actually, it's a direct correlation between the two topics, rather. And Luca Blight, yeah, again, he just goes around raiding and pillaging and pretty much just killing people for no reason. And he just really goes around. He devalues, like, humans altogether. And it's just like, if you really read his backstory, get into it, you'd be like, wow, no wonder he's crazy. Because what happened with his mom and the caravan, and yeah, it's a messed up story, but it adds a lot to the character development, like I said, and I think that villains are just as important as the heroes. A lot of RPGs tend to put more emphasis on the heroes, and I think that RPGs should put more emphasis on the villain. That would be really nice. And it's sort of kind of happening, sort of. This villain shouldn't be like this omnipotent, godlike thing with no backstory, but just like this big, giant, epic, lifeless thing that tries to kill you. I'm really tired of RPGs who use that same, like, type of mantra over and over again. I mean, it's kind of stupid. I mean, you could say that for Gigas, but Gigas is different. Gigas was, at that time, it was really the first boss or final enemy that was like the way he was. And I can't really say anything about Gigas because I'll probably have some Earthbound fanboy, chew me out about what he thinks Gigas is. And little does that Earthbound fanboy know that this argument is entirely subjective. So, yeah, like I said. My least favorite game character would be Titus from Final Fantasy X, obviously. I mean, he's basically everything negative that I said about a hero rolled into one character. Not only that, but, his costume design, just everything about him is just a total disaster. It, you know, and I'm gonna get a lot of people bashing me for this, but I don't like FF10 at all. I know NCS is doing a very good job of LPing the game, alright? So I'm not saying that FF10 is shit in general. That's just my opinion, and it's a lot of other people's opinions who have finer taste in RPGs. Because, FF10, it applies, it was made for the mainstream, for the masses to play, so it's not really going to have as much depth as, say, a Suikoden game, or, it has to be more shallow because more people should really, more people want to understand it. And if you're trying to make a game that appeals to as many people as possibly can, you're going to have to change your formula and not create, a storyline that's really complicated or anything like that. That's my problem with Final Fantasy now. Final Fantasy VI was really the last, like, niche Final Fantasy before they went mainstream, obviously. And there's, like, a huge gap or a rivalry between FF6 fans and FF7 fans. And obviously, 8, doesn't count for shit. 9 is sort of like, but whatever. I don't want to get into it, because I don't want Final Fantasy fanboys running me down, too. But I guess the main reason why I dislike Titus, Well, I kind of covered everything. I mean, his voice acting is terrible. Uh, the relationship between his father, I feel no sympathy for him. I really don't. Again, it's like I said, the father disappears for a number of years, and he has to go out and find him, only to find out that he's the bad guy. Oh my god, I totally didn't see that coming. And you know, like, as NCS even said within his videos, you know, so what if your father leaves for a long time? You know, his father was in the service, and he left for a number of years. I mean, sometimes fathers gotta do what they gotta do, and there's really nothing, you know, like how am I supposed to feel sorry for Titus? I mean, it's unfortunate that his father became Sin, and yes, now I can say that because he's pretty much NCS is pretty much done with the LP. But you know, I just think that the entire backstory behind that is really weak, and for that, I dislike Titus as a character. I think he's definitely my least favorite. That's really overrated, and is really given too much praise, in my opinion, because well, you know by now. So yeah, this is the end of video 1. And I'll go ahead and start video 2. Sorry for my throat. I'm still recovering from the cold, but it usually takes me like 2 weeks to get rid of the nasal drip and everything else that comes with one. And yeah, loving it up with the Droid. Fucking love this phone. I will see you guys later with video number 2, which is the first LP that I've ever watched, first LPer that I've ever watched, and whether he or she influenced me to start my own LPs or not. So I'll see you guys later.